welcome back. Picking up where we left off last time in Solar Expanse in our Fission all the way run, which at this point we've completed the tech tree. So we're going to end the Fission all the way at this point. We're going to transfer to just sort of terraforming the solar system. But we're going to kick off the end of the Fission era here by having a race with all of the ships to Mars. So we'll be ready to go as soon as Hermes is done being built here. Technically I have a Mercury... Oh, that's already set up for a back trip, so it's just the Psyche one. One day. There we go. Time to plan the missions. I suppose we can do a quick check here that we have all of them. So we should have a Atlas. Yep. We have a Zephyr. Yep. A Talos. Check. Daedalus. Check. Iris. Check. Selene. Check. Stratos. Check. Hermes. Check. Athena, check. Prometheus, check. Hephaestus, check. Rain, check. Kronos, check. Sirius, check. Zeus, check. And a Midas. So we have every ship in the game that exists currently built and ready for our transit to Mars. We'll start off with the Prometheus. Earth orbit, Mars orbit. Prometheus. You're gonna take nothing. We're just seeing optimal transit. We can get there empty on 9 tons of, in this case, hydrogen for the Prometheus. It'll take us about 10 months, 10 days on the optimal transit window. Festus. Earth orbit to Mars orbit. No cargo. Optimal transit for it takes 8 tons. Gets there in 10 months, 8 days, so just a little bit faster. I think it also is using a little bit more fuel. I think it uses 2 more tons of fuel. But it is a slightly heavier ship instead of that, so I think that's why that's happening. And to be fair, these are the ships that we've used before. We got an Rain. This is our main Fission workhorse. It flying empty on the optimal transit takes 13 tons empty. Gets there in 10 months, 8 days. It is the optimal transit window, so if you're sort of doing the minimum Homean transfer, this is the sort of window that you're expecting. Kronos to Mars. Again, another Fission ship. This is the only one that's capable of launching off of planets. Flying empty. It's actually our least efficient Fission ship at 122 tons to do the same transit as the other ones. Now, let's do some comparisons from different ship class. Let's do the gas line. So Iris, Earth orbit to Mars orbit. The Iris, flying empty, could technically carry up to 2 tons, so it's a pretty small ship. Optimal transit window. I'm going to send it with all its fuel. It would require 2 tons of fuel, so it's pretty fuel efficient, but it basically carries nothing. You can't put anything for practical purposes on the Iris. I suppose if you need to deliver 18 tons of fuel somewhere, it'll eat most of it, probably getting there. Effectively delivering a payload of, well, the full fuel tank here, we're arriving with 5 tons of fuel, which isn't even enough for it necessarily to get back. Actually, no, it would be enough for it to get back, because it requires 2 for the transit, right? 2 for the transit, so it's burning most of its fuel, bringing the extra fuel so it can go home. Stratos to Mars orbit. So, this is your stereotypical, this is basically the Kronos, but gas-powered, fuel-powered. Has a much lower cargo capacity, but like the Kronos, it can launch from planetary bodies. It's a little slower, so instead of doing a 10-month, 8-day transit, it does a 10-month, 13 on optimal. It needs 83 tons of fuel. So actually, from a launch volume of fuel, it's saving you fuel to do sort of a Mars transit-style burn. It's a little slower. However, it runs off of fuel. And fuel is not as thrust efficient, right? So this is going to carry a 10th the cargo that the Kronos does. So if you're trying to orbit stuff with this, you're going to eat a bunch of fuel. And going to Mars, this brings enough that it can go back. It's going to arrive with 298, which is more than enough for it to return. Although probably not enough for it to return loaded with very much. And this is running outwards, outbound, empty as well. So even worse trying to return if it went out with something. So that is the 2 fuel ships. There's only 2 fuel ships. Let's do the electric drive next. So Earth to Mars orbit. The Metis. So it only needs 1 ton. So the electric drives are pretty fuel efficient. It's 1 day slower on the optimal transit. Oh no, actually it's 1 day slower than the fuel drive. So it's got lower thrust if you're sort of taking the optimal transit window. We are only going to spend 1 ton to move the ship itself. In fact, we're not even spending the whole ton to move the ship itself. Which means it does arrive with most of its fuel intact. 35 tons on a full tank here arrives with all the techs done for that class of ship. And the Metis, which is the one we just sent, I think is actually supposed to be the interstellar probe. My understanding is correct. It's the Metis. Oh, I guess that, I'm able to build it. It's not in the tech tree, is what's going on. Or am I just missing it? I think the Metis must be new. The Metis is, I think, supposed to be an interstellar probe. See if we can find it in here quickly. We launched one. Lightweight deep space exploration craft. Yeah, so it's meant for deep space exploration. Long duration travel through carefully planned gravity assisted maneuvers. It's not. It technically is capable of interstellar travel, but for what we're going to use it for, it's just a ship. Yeah, sending it to Mars orbit. So the actual probe insertion ship, which is the Selene, that's the next one we're going to send. Earth orbit to Mars orbit. Selene. Again, we're going to send it with our cargo. It has 7 tons of cargo, so it can carry a probe and some other stuff. Optimal transit, it would only technically take a ton of fuel, and it wouldn't even burn that. And then it arrives with 8 intact, so it can definitely do a couple transits. In fact, this might be a decent ship again for doing some gravity-assisted acceleration if you wanted to go places. And then we have 2 more electric drive. So we have the Hermes. This is the workhorse of the original sort of workhorse, early workhorse of the electric drives. This is the one you get first. That can actually carry some tonnage, 360 tons. So it's more than the Stratos. And the main quest recommends that you build one for Mars transit. So minimum of 8 tons to bring the ship itself to Mars. And the 300 tons here is probably enough to very happily bring cargo to Mars and then use the 8 tons that you would use to get back. It would probably bring that along bring that along as well in the cargo tank here, so it can probably get back. So it can go to Mars and back on 300 tons with a cargo. So it's really good for that. That's probably one of the main reasons the quest recommends you use this ship. And yeah, so empty, it brings 252 tons of noble gas to Mars. Although, in the long run, you're probably going to be mining noble gas on Mars to use these, if you're using these a lot. And then, once you get deeper in the electronic tree, you get access to the Athena, these guys. These guys are much better. They're still electric drive. We jump from a cargo capacity of like 360 to 600 here, so nearly double the cargo capacity. It's also more fuel efficient. The other one needed 8 tons to go to Mars and back. This one, or 8 tons to go to Mars. Not even back, just to Mars. This one, flying empty, requires 1 ton with the full tech tree. It can carry up to 180 tons. So, and it's fuel efficient to deliver 170 tons to Mars empty. So this, again, is another ship you can probably go to and come from Mars pretty reliably on very little fuel. The electric drives are very fuel efficient. The difficulty with the electric drives is you're using noble gases, and there isn't a lot of noble gases in the solar system, and they don't mine very fast as a side effect. But for workhorse ships, before you're running fission or fusion, they in theory work very well. Now, we'll go through the solar sails. So we'll start off with the slowest, which is the Daedalus. Again, flying empty to Mars carries 40 tons. So if you're going to do any major hauling with this, you're going to need a lot of them. Large, large, large flights of these things. They cost no fuel. Max range, 4.7 AU. Get there in 10 months, 7 days on the optimal transit. So if you're flying everything in the optimal transit, this is actually the fastest yet. Everything else was looking at 10 months, 8 days, 10 months, 10 days. 10 months, 7 days, not that bad. It doesn't carry much tonnage, so you're going to have to run a lot of these. But you can definitely run them. And they don't cost anything to run besides their upkeep. Earth orbit, and I'm not actually sure they have upkeep. I think they have upkeep. Yeah, it doesn't say that. I assume they have upkeep. Again, so Talos, which is the upgraded version, 3 times the cargo capacity. Again, this was the full tech tree, because we've researched the full tech tree. Again, still 10 months, 7 days, so if you're doing optimal transit, still some of the fastest ship for this sort of transit. The Zephyr. So this is the end of the solar sail line. We're up to 80 tons. So this is actually a tonnage downgrade. But this has something the other ones don't. Although we're not going to make use of that on the way to Mars here. And that is max range. So this can go out to places like Pluto and Jupiter. And if you want fuel-efficient hauling of resources in from the outer system, Zephyr is fuel-efficient. Because it has no fuel upkeep. Not very fast. Although, actually, in many ways, it is very fast, because it's not, you're not having to spend fuel to go fast. It's the same speed as everything else is if you're doing a minimum transfer homing orbit. Okay, so all we got left is the fusion ships. So the first of the fusion ships, the Nike. With maximum tech, we're up to 6 kilotons. This is twice what the Arraign has. This is the smallest and weakest of the fusion ships. Twice as much as the Rain. Minimum propellant. This burns hydrogen. The other one, I think, was what? Well, that was the Rain was pulling something like 12, I think. This flying empty pulls half a ton. Respectable for an empty cargo hold. And then it's more got more exhaust velocity, so it's going to be more fuel or reaction thrust efficient. And this is only 1 day slower than the solar sails on this optimal transfer. This is a ship you might be able to pay, and willingly pay, to go pay the fuel to go faster. Right? 4 tons. We can have it done in a month and 12 days. For this race, we're not going to do that. We're going to do the min fuel here, but you can run faster. Fusion ships are very efficient for spending fuel to get to places. Sirius, which is the upgrade. Again, we're going to do Earth to Mars orbit. Double the cargo capacity of the Nike. Has a higher thrust efficiency. So the minimum fuel, just to move the ship, 0.32 to go to Mars. So you're mostly spending fuel on the cargo, and it can carry a lot of cargo. Again, solar sails are still, if you're doing these sort of fuel optimum transfers, solar sails are still faster than it. A day. It doesn't make a big difference, but that's a difference. We'll do the Atlas. The Atlas kind of sits in the same sort of pocket as like the Kronos and Stratos in that it is a specialty ship. But it has a different specialty. 10 kilotons, so it's not as good as the last ship we looked at, which is a 12 kiloton hauling vessel. If we look at fuel efficiency, this ship actually takes more than a ton to fly to Mars. 7 tons. So why would you run the Atlas? You can use this like the asteroid engines, where if you get enough of them together, you can push asteroids. So this is all engine, not much cargo space. So you use this to push things, you don't use this to fly around the solar system. It's usually what you do. And then, what is probably arguably the best ship in the game, if you don't want to do anything special with it, which is the Zeus. Twice the cargo hold capacity of the next closest ship. Optimal transit to Mars, flying empty, half a ton. Actually, a little under half a ton. So for the fusion ships, it's a heavy enough ship that you're spending a little bit more fuel to move the ship around, but twice the cargo capacity of the previous ship. And I believe it has a better thrust speed. So you can move that cargo more efficiently. It's the most efficient cargo hauler. There we go. So we've got all the ships queued up for a flight to Mars. Where's the Earth? Here's the Earth. Okay. So we're going to accelerate in time until the launches begin, and then we'll see them all in flight. Jupiter orbit arrived at Mercury. That was my water resupply. So Mercury now has its water, so it shouldn't run out of food. Although it's running out of food, because apparently I still don't have enough food to feed everyone. And it's only 7.5 years of food. Oof. Or 7.5 years of water. 71 years of food. Here is the opening of the launch windows. Oh, actually, that's not even the opening of the launch windows. That's the launches, that's next year. Yeah, those are all planned missions. None of them have launched. Optimal Mars launch window. Still in the future. All 2080. Or 2280. So we'll go fly through another year pretty quickly here. Orbital magnetosphere, Luna complete, Titan orbit complete. So they're not here yet, but the nitrogen is now ready for them, so we're going to plan that return trip. Titan to Mars. Okay, and do you actually want to go to Jupiter to pick up some water? Assuming Jupiter has the water. Mercury to Jupiter. We got some time, so you can take the sweet time to get up to Jupiter orbit and then back to Mercury. Oh, you might as well take fuel. Plenty to pick up. That's Mercury to the moon. Here's the launch windows for our race. So during the beginning of the launch window, what launches? We've got 3 ships away. What are our new transits? So the first one to launch is the Daedalus. That's the Daedalus. Oh, we got a couple ships here launching on top of each other. So we got Mars launch 26 and Mars launch 23. So 26 is the Zephyr. That's the Zephyr. And then 23, click on it, is the Hermes. You can see the Zephyr and the Hermes. So that was the catching the magnetic effects, and you are running the electric drive. So 2 ships away. All the ships in the game. Zoom in a little bit to see the Hermes. And then that is the Zephyr there. Some magnetic effects there to catch the plasma. Next launch is away. Ships are involved in this launch. We got quite a few. So this is the Zeus. Cargo hull that is the Zeus. All those cargo pods. Fusion engines on the back there. It's already stopped running the engines because it's doing a homeown transfer here, so you don't see the engines up bright. And... oh, I don't know that one. Oh, that's the Prometheus. That's the Prometheus there. One of the fission ships. Mars 20, so that's the Stratos. Off for flight. That's the Athena. Off for its flight. Electric drive. Very long shafts, so you can get those noble gases up to very high velocity. Is this the Selene? This is one of the probe ships. And the other probe ship. I forget which one's which. See the two probe ships there. And then we unpause. And I think we still have more to launch. Yes, we still have... I think we still have some to go. Oh, did some sneak out when I wasn't looking? Yeah, it looks like they all snuck out when I wasn't looking. There's a couple out there that I didn't see when we were going through them. No, I want to see the transits. Ongoing mission. Yeah, I saw the Zeus. No, I want to see the Atlas game. Oh, I'm clicking the ribbon. That's what's going on. But there. I want to be on that mission, please. Take me to the ship. The problem, I suppose, with my my launch plan here is that I'm all bunched up. That's the Zephyr. That's the Hermes. Athena. Stratos. Probe ships. Prometheus. Zeus. That's other ships heading out to Mars. Huh, I'm having trouble trying to find the ships that I'm trying to see. Probably because I have too many stacked over the top of each other. Let's give them a little more time to see if they spread out a bit more. I think they will launch during that window. They all, as far as I'm aware, have launched. And none of them have arrived. It's the other important facet. They should still be in transit somewhere, because they have all left and not arrived. Can't seem to see my flights. Okay, we'll unpause and see if they... Again, they're supposed to be spreading out a little bit more on their arrival period, so... Should be able to catch them as they arrive. Well, assuming they've all launched correctly. Some of them might just be stacked. It might be a glitch to be launching so many things at the same time. Yeah, you can see the Zephyr is not a particularly fast ship, but it's not a terribly slow ship either when you're trying to do these sort of fuel-efficient transfers. It's just the other one's going to basically spend fuel to go faster. Here's our arrivals. They all presumably arrived. And the probe ships, to be fair, are not set up to do multiple transfers like this, so they can, but they're not supposed to. So you can see, oh, it looks like it's heavily damaged, because it is. It's supposed to do one transit and basically be done. Yeah, so I think everything arrived. Surprised we didn't see everything during that transit. Well, I know we missed the Atlas and we missed the... I think we missed the Atlas, the Nike, and the Cirrus. I remember seeing most of them. Yeah, that might have been a bug of launching quite so many objects at the same time. They all traveled correctly, but they didn't all necessarily wander on the map. It's a bit of a shame. That was the point of launching them all at the same time, was to watch all of them fly. Okay, we'll do a return trip with some of the ones we missed. I don't think we saw Cirrus. So we'll get you going back to Earth. I suppose we can show off a little bit of the constant acceleration in these ships. Should actually be enough to do the transit. Constant acceleration, it can use 9 tons of fuel to go to Earth from Mars empty in a month and 8 days. Remember, this was a ship that used less than half a ton to do it in like 10 months. Nike has a constant impulse option. More fuel inefficient to do it, 15 tons, but it can do it. 1 month, 8 days. The Atlas probably going to be pretty terrible when it comes to fuel efficiency for the same sort of logic, but it can probably do it. Constant acceleration, optimal transit. It's going to cost 212 to do the same burn, but 1 month, 8 days. The magic of going in a straight line to save yes in time. And this is basically things we can do with the Fusion. We haven't actually tested to see if we can do that with the Urain. Don't think the Urain can do Mars to Earth empty. Might. This is the first ship we've had constant acceleration being presented as an option on. No, it cannot. Oh wait, it can. It can just barely do it. Again, month 8 days. It's taken 1,000.12 tons of hydrogen, but it can do it. Now we're showing off the speed of some of the faster ships here. Where they've got the thrust efficiency to go constant acceleration destination. 14 tons. Does it in a month and 8 days. Month and 8 days appears to be the short distance from Earth to Mars if you're just burning the whole way. And then we did see the Selene, the Metis, the Iris, the Athena, Stratos, Kronos. I think we may have missed the solar sails. We'll send the solar sails back. Besides the Zephyr. And then we wait for our launch window. Mercury to Jupiter. Start the transit back, and it is. Oh, we get told, so maybe it missed that launch window, and it'll be in the next one. Jupiter, Earth to Mercury. There it is. And then, yeah, we've got solar sail. That is one of the solar sails. Did both solar sails launch? Or just the one? Both solar sails launched. Did they launch at different times, or did they just one of them's not rendering? Yeah, both have launched. Let me see Earth 3. Yeah, that's one of the two solar sails. I think both of them launched, but I'm not seeing the other one unless it launched at a different time. Significantly different time, although it probably shouldn't have. And then you can see the launch profile for the direct thrust run. All 5 of the ships that are going to do it are going to do it at the exact same time during that thrust profile. Oh, I forgot to queue up the next magnetic one. Let's do that while I'm looking. One of the 4 remaining. A couple more trips and we'll have that done. Radiation getting lower on Mercury. Yeah, you can see these guys are probably burning away. How many of them can we see? Okay, so it's not, for whatever reason, launching them all at the same time is causing them not to render all the ships. It's rendering the Zeus here, but we're not seeing the rest of them. I'll have to do a couple flights during the next stream. Because there'll be a load and unload between then and now. I'll send them different destinations so we can see them all flying. But that just gives you the idea of what a constant acceleration thrust does to get you from place to place. There we go. Mars to Earth in a month and a couple days. Just to show off how fast we can go with these new ships. Well, also to show us how fast you can go with the Urain. The Urain was horribly fuel efficient for that. Inefficient for that. But it could do it. The newer ships can do it and not be completely fuel efficient, but they are what they are. Okay. Now, to be a little productive with some of these ships, the Cirrus, I'm going to send to Jupiter orbit. Because we're going to put you on a cyclical mission hauling hydrogen. $25 tons to Jupiter and constant acceleration gets you there in a month, 28 days. The Nike are going to send a little farther out. We're going to send it to Saturn. To basically do the same thing. It's going to haul hydrogen. Optimal transit takes 60 tons to go there from Earth. 2 months, 23 days. Off it trots. And the Zeus we'll be using for heavy hauling. Question is, where do I have you go? That is a good question. I might actually have you start to haul the engines out from Luna. Sure, let's get you to Luna for that purpose. It's so close you can't do a constant thrust. Just do an optical transfer. 7-day transit. We arrived at Mercury. Up. We're at the moon. It's actually taking me a little while to get all the engines to orbit. Because it can take all of them at the same time. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. I can get them all to orbit at one launch. Okay. All the ones we built. It's not going to be enough. We're going to have to build more, but we can get them all to orbit in one launch. There we go. They're all in orbit. 16 engines. We'd like all delivered to Psyche, please. Zeus, can you affect that delivery? 8 kilotons of load loaded on the vehicle. Constant acceleration uses 248 tons for the delivery. I want you to bring along enough propellant that you can basically do that coming back. Need be. That will do. Goes there in 1 month, 26 days. We're gonna need more engines. That's gonna be enough to deorbit the asteroid yet. But 16 plus 7, that leaves us 4 short. It's not very short. And the fusion drives, as you can see, you can definitely do the deliveries. So we get them all together when we can start crashing asteroids once we've got the stuff ready. Mars arrived at Earth. That was the solar sails arriving. And I suppose for some of the smaller items, we can have the Atlas do the pushing. If it's just a single ship engine, then the Atlas could do delivery. Those aren't very common. And we could use that to get PW413 Rider. So we'll get the Atlas actually doing some work. So Atlas, out PW413 Rider, please. Earth to that destination. Take me Earth orbit, actually. To that destination. Impulse would take you longer to get there. 9 months, 12 days. Not necessarily in the rush to get you there. that saves you a bunch of fuel, so you can do a much faster return trip, let's say. With the object, of course. So, PW4, 13 Rider, I think we will take to Mars orbit. We'll unload it there. So get all the stuff off of it, get all the people off of it. And then we'll slam it into Mars for the extra water and carbon. And we've got scheduled missions. There goes the first ones. There's the Psyche 2. That is the Zeus off to Psyche 2. On constant acceleration, so we should see the engine a-burning. There is the engine burning. Doing its flip for the mid-trip slowdown. That is Psyche 2. Do we have any of the other launch windows coming up? We might as well launch it. Watch it going the rest of the way. And we're just flying across the solar system at this point with the new fusion drives. And arrival. So, Psyche now has 23 of the 27 engines required to move the asteroid. Oh, the rain is waiting here. Get back to Earth. If you were to go constant acceleration, you would need more fuel than you can carry. So no dice on that. You can take a nice gentle impulse return. Whereas the Zeus can just be like, I want to be back at Earth now. Please and thank you. Yeah, it'd only take like 1 ton to get back, which is the optimal transfer. But you go impulse. Optimal transit, 28 tons. Get there in a day, or get there in a month and 16 days. It is the era of a need for speed. Here goes off one of our ships. So that is the Nike. Blazing along on constant propulsion. Power or fusion power? Off to Saturn, doing its flip, beginning its deceleration. And yeah, gets out to Saturn real fast. There we go. So with it there, I can now plan cyclical missions. I'm gonna have you provide more hydrogen fuel to Mars orbit. Okay. Still waiting for that transit out to Jupiter. That one has yet to launch. With these constant acceleration burns, they spend a lot of time, because we're trying to do fuel efficient, spend a lot of time waiting for the optimum time. Do not spend very much time in transfer. It might be that transfer right there. Yep. This is the Cirrus. Off to Jupiter. doing its flip and deceleration. Again, under constant acceleration, so this is a fast transit. You can just see the solar system flying by. There we go, Earth to Jupiter. Fusion ships make that look easy. Okay. Now that I'm being distracted with the ships, I should get back to actually some more productive work. Okay, so the moon needs more alloys for various different things. Radiation-wise, I need to get another 4 constructed. We have 1 being built in orbit, and I should be able to power the remaining 4. So if I can just get the alloys there, they will build and be fine. So next batch of alloys to the moon from the Mercury. Still have the Arraigns carry them because they're there and they're convenient. And then we can plan the Jupiter transit for that new ship. Set it up as cyclical. Jupiter, Mercury, Ceres. Wait until the cargo is full, but I'd like you to be picking up hydrogen, taking it to Mercury. Mercury can be a little bit more willing to launch resources. Mars arrived in Titan orbit. I think I had that scheduled for a return trip already. Yep, already scheduled for its return trip. And now with the bigger ships, as we build more of them, and I'll probably spend the beginning of next stream building more of them, because we've built like 1 of every ship. We're going to build more Siriuses, or not Siriuses, we're going to build more of Zeuses. Zeus shall reign the solar system. But we're going to wait for probably the next stream to do that. But yeah. Next one is going to be building up the resources we need to terraform, I think. So we need more gas extractors so we can generate hydrogen and nitrogen. We need a little bit more alloys. But then we're moving on probably to... Well, we'll need alloys for it as well, but we'll be moving on to building up the Earth interstellar ship construction components. The first one is a lot of alloys, right? 108,000 tons of alloy, 25,000 tons of rare, 31.5 thousand tons of polymer for a thing. What does the thing do? By itself, nothing. And then we get to the next item, which admittedly is a little cheaper, but you gotta build 3 of them. Still, basically do nothing by themselves. Habitat section, same sort of thing. I think it's build this. You have to build this first. Then you can build these 2. When these 2 are done, you can build this one. I think that's how you have to build it out. And then deliver 2,000 people here. Plan the mission. Quest complete. I'm not even sure you necessarily have to send the mission. Oh, and you've arrived, so we can get it queued up so I don't forget about it next time. Yeah, 2 more of those, and we'll have the radiation terraforming for Mars done, or for the moon done. So Mars will be done, the moon will be done from radiation standpoint. Mercury is coming along. Mercury is about where Mars was when we finished the first quest, so Mercury is coming along pretty nicely. And we'll get another one, ground-based one going on Mercury. Yeah, Mercury is like, what? Mercury is only 14 away. We just queued 1 up, so it's 13 away. Unlucky 13 away. And then we'll be done with the radiation. Mercury, obviously, we're going to have to get the temperature under control. The moon looks like we're going to have to do a little bit to get the temperature under control. Mars, we've done what we need to raise the temperature. Although Mars apparently is out of rares, we'll have to get rares coming to Mars a little faster. Although, Mars is only using the rares to make electronics, and I think we have enough electronics. I don't think that's our problem. I think our problem is fancier things, like alloys and polymers. Both of which we could probably expand production of on Mars. Yeah, we could probably expand production, because we've crashed a carbon asteroid into Mars, so we've got carbon there. Breaking in the CO2 is burning carbon, so we could expand both of those on Mars. But yeah, probably actually going to go ahead and finish... we'll get the Uranes back, or on the transit back to Mercury. We may be using them less and less going forward as we build Siriuses, because the Sirius is just going to be more efficient. Although for this transit, which is... I need 9 of them to bring exactly the load. They work real well. If we need anything bigger or anything other shaped, that might be less of the case going forward. But yeah, I think the run is going well. We got crashed from carbon to the moon, so we got carbon there too. Maybe I should be crashing... Take the Atlas and crash that into Mercury, so we got a water and carbon deposit on Mercury. Although it doesn't have any carbon anymore, does it? It's, Oh no, it still has a water carbon. Yeah, it might make sense to crash this into the Mercury. So we got a couple kilotons of water and carbon on Mercury, so I don't have to worry about bringing water and carbon to Mercury. Just mine it locally. We got a planned mission. I'll think about that. That actually makes a lot of sense. 16 Psyche arrives at Earth. Okay. I can stay at Earth for the moment. I need the alloys to build up more engines. Oh, one of those is Lorraine as well. Luna arrived at Mercury, so they're back at Mercury, waiting for the next transit, which could be done around about the same time the Metasphere generator finishes. The sails would probably be a bit more useful earlier in the run when we didn't have maxed out fusion ships. You've arrived at Ryder. And yeah, I think I actually want you to take the moon, or to take this asteroid to Jupiter. Water carbon kilotons worth on or not Jupiter, to Mercury. Kilotons worth on Mercury here will be useful, because then that means I can mine those locally, so I don't have to worry about running out. Yeah, I've talked myself into it. Okay, so Atlas, make a transit to Mercury orbit. BW413 Ryder, Atlas. Bring the entire asteroid with you. Impulse, an optimal transit, takes you 7 months and 8 days. Think that'll work? And we can see it. In fact, that might be a good way to end this recording and the stream. We can see an Atlas pushing an asteroid. This is what you use the Atlas for if you're going to use the Atlas. Pushing asteroids. So this is on its way. And to be fair, we got people here working. We literally have people here. Okay, they're making food. After the lab's been removed, they're kind of surplus to requirements here, but they're working, making food as this asteroid moves, because we've got the Atlas pushing. So it's mobile. We've made this asteroid mobile. This isn't the first asteroid we made mobile, but this is what you can use the Atlas for. It's just like, yeah, I want this asteroid here, not there. And it just flies over, grabs the object, and pushes it. Works real well for that. And yeah, I think that's actually, I think, the best place to leave off this episode. We're gonna get up here, look at our ship doing a transit, and that is where we're going to put the end. So that's the result of this stream. We're pushing asteroids with an Atlas. Although we need more than one to push most things. And I think instead of building more atlases, I'm going to build more of the... reopen it up and get up to the thing. I'm going to build more of these asteroid engines. Same sort of logic, just these use the material of the asteroid instead of hydrogen to push the asteroid around. And apparently they're just a little bit more powerful. They can't fly themselves out there, of course. You've got to have like a Zeus deliver them. But you could also have a Zeus deliver them. A Zeus or two will be enough to deliver enough of these that you can probably skip the atlases if you want to. The Zeus is also more fuel efficient. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave off this stream. Next stream, we're going to be terraforming. We're going to see how far along we can get in the terraforming. And we do have, as far as achievements are concerned, 2 time-sensitive quests. We should easily achieve the time sensitivity on those quests. One is complete beyond the solar system before the year 2400. So we got over 100 years to complete this. I don't think it's going to take that long. I do need to maybe stop procrastinating, because I could totally waste time for 100 years. It is not cheap, but I don't think it's going to take us over 100 years to do. The other one, which is even less time sensitive, although as we've shown is maybe not an easy task, is complete the terraformation of Mars. That one is up until 2600, so 2600. So that's another 200, 300 years in the future. I think we can do it in 300 years. I don't see us not being able to do it in 300 years. But that's the other time-sensitive one. And that's basically... I think the achievements we haven't done is the time-sensitive Explore Interstellar System. Explore Interstellar Systems. There's also a non-time-sensitive version of that achievement. Terraform Mars, and the non-time-sensitive version of it. So that's like 4 of them. And I think it is Neptune and Uranus. Colonize a moon of Neptune and Uranus. Like, I think that's all the achievements I have uncompleted at this point in the game. At least out of the achievements that exist currently. Let me see if I can check that quickly. I'm missing 2 in my count. Because I've got 8 achievements uncompleted. But yeah, I think that's giving you a rough estimate of the ones we're missing. Oh, Traveler, colonize any comet. We haven't colonized a comet. And then colonize any Kuiper Belt object. Am I missing a Kuiper Belt object? Maybe. I'm not sure we discovered any. We should be able to discover some. We'll see if we can try to discover that in the next one. But yeah, I hope everyone has been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, we will have another part up tomorrow. We are going to do at least one more stream when we'll see if we can obviously complete Beyond the Solar System and terraform Mars all the way. That'll be about 4 more hours of gameplay. We'll see how long it takes to terraform Mars, and how long it takes to build the solar system. That's what we got, or Beyond the Solar System here. That's what we got left. So if you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to delay the ads because we're about to bring the stream to close. You don't want to show you ads right before the stream comes to an end. I'm going to go over the schedule for the next couple dates. So today was Solar Expanse. We're getting pretty close to the end, but I think we have a day, maybe 2 left of streaming that's left. Just because of how much, how time-consuming it's going to be to do the terraforming. Specifically because I think it's going to be the atmospheric terraforming that's going to hold us up. Because I got to get more gas extraction going, so we can get more hydrogen. Well, actually less hydrogen. I don't really need that much more hydrogen, because we got fuel-efficient ships now. But I need nitrogen. I need nitrogen, oxygen, water. Nitrogen, oxygen, water. We can extract CO2 and turn that into carbon and oxygen. If I get enough water, which we're probably not going to do anytime soon, if we get enough water, I can turn that into hydrogen and oxygen to get more oxygen. And in fact, I might need to do that to get the oxygen. Even if I need the water for other things, I might need to split it for the oxygen. We'll see how things are going. But yeah. So today was Solar Expanse. Tomorrow is Solar Nations 2. We're going to be starting a new run. If you're watching live on Twitch, I don't think the poll has closed yet. However, the poll is closing soon, so if you want to vote in it, now is like the last opportunity to vote in it. Although I think the poll result is pretty skewed, so it might be hard to change the poll result at this point. But Solar Nations 2 is tomorrow's stream. We're going to be starting a new run. I'm not going to spoiler how I think the poll is going to go, but I think the poll has basically been decided at this point. Sadly, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's too late to vote in the poll because it would have been done by then. Although if you're watching this on YouTube and you can't wait till the next part comes out for Solar Nations 2, you can sneak over to the Twitch VOD and watch the part. It'll be up there on Twitch. And I suppose 3 of the parts should already be out by now, so if you're watching this on YouTube, it's probably not spoilers that Solar Nations 2 is getting recorded. In fact, you probably know how that poll result ended. So, Solar Nations 2 tomorrow, Factorio the day after that, continuation of Planetons. We're going to go into Power Plants and the new Science Pack. Tuesday, Shadow Empire. We're going to be continuing the alternate timeline where we actually get this Index computer in a reasonable amount of time. Then Wednesday will be the return to Solar Expanse where we continue this terraforming. At which point the cycle will continue. Solar Nations 2, Factorio, Shadow Empire, and then we'll be back to Solar Expanse. That's the upcoming stream schedule. I hope everyone has been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Twitch, this is your last opportunity to get a comment responded to if you want to leave a comment while the stream is live. After I stop the YouTube recording here, I'm going to save the game. I'm going to reset the refresh the chat to make sure I'm not missing anyone's comments, and then I will bring the stream to a close. If you're watching later on the Twitch VOD or on YouTube, and you want a comment responded to, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube. And if you're on the Twitch VOD, obviously, you probably want to move over to YouTube to leave comments. YouTube's pretty good for asynchronous commenting. I don't know how it works on Twitch. I don't think it can actually be done by default on Twitch, because I think I have it turned off by default on Twitch. But yeah, so that's how that works. I hope everyone has been enjoying. If you're watching this later on YouTube and you want to put in a suggestion on what you'd like to see gameplay-wise after this run completes, because I think we're only got a part or two, or a stream or two left of this before we swap on to the next game. Feel free to leave those comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, that should be far enough ahead that I have time to respond to them and decide if that is going to be what follows up after this. Games that I'm currently interested in that I might pick up for the next stream are the expansion for Terra Invicta, a little bit interested in Cultist Simulator, or I may do Humankind. There's a couple other games I have in my Steam library backlog to work through that might get installed and played if no one makes a suggestion. Although Team R&B was seeming interested in Humankind, so it'll probably be one of the 2 games that I'm suggesting I might pick up, or Humankind, unless someone brings up another suggestion. So with that, I'm going to wish everyone the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and/or stream, and bye for now.